There are some cases that just stick with you. Not because they have a neat, tidy ending, but for the exact opposite reason, because they don't. And this is one of those stories. It's one of America's most haunting unsolved mysteries, the disappearance of the Springfield Three. And the core of this mystery, well, it's as simple as it is absolutely terrifying. On a single night, back in June of 1992, three women just vanished. No note, no signs of a struggle, no real leads, just an empty house and a silence that is now stretched over 3 decades. So, how does a night that's supposed to be about celebration turn into a lifelong nightmare? Okay, let's rewind. It all starts on June 6, 1992. Two of the women, Suzie Streeter and Stacy McCall, were out celebrating their high school graduation. After a night of parties, they head back to Suzie's house, getting there in the really early hours of the morning. And that right there, that's the last time anyone can say for sure where they were. By the next morning, when friends pop by, the house was completely empty. First, it's so important we put a face to this story. We're talking about three women: Sherrill Levitt, who was 47, her 19-year-old daughter Suzie Streeter, and Suzie's friend, 18-year-old Stacy McCall. Three people with full lives ahead of them who just disappeared overnight. Now, the scene at the house is where the story goes from just being strange to something deeply unsettling. The clues, if you can even call them that, just don't add up. In fact, they almost seem to contradict each other, painting this really confusing picture of whatever happened that night. And this is the question that has haunted investigators and family members ever since, right? If they just decided to leave, why on earth would they leave behind all the essential things you need to just live your life? It makes absolutely no sense. I mean, just think about what was still there. All three of their purses, their car keys, both of their cars were parked right outside. Even Suzie's cigarettes were there. The whole scene looked like they had just stepped out for a minute and were about to walk right back in. And here's the detail that really changes everything. There was no broken lock, no shattered window, no kicked-in door, nothing at all to suggest someone forced their way in. And that single fact just dramatically shifts the whole investigation. Did they know their attacker? Did they willingly let someone inside? And to add to this really eerie atmosphere, the family's little dog, Cinnamon, was found inside. And while she was totally unharmed, people said she was super anxious. What did that dog see or hear? It's such a small, chilling detail, but it just deepens the whole mystery. So, as if this case wasn't already complicated enough, the initial response, or really the lack of one, created this huge problem. See, the first people on the scene weren't the police. They were worried friends and family. And in those first critical hours, the investigation was compromised before it even officially began. Just look at how this played out. Friends who were just trying to be helpful ended up inadvertently destroying potential evidence. They swept up the broken glass from a porch light, maybe getting rid of fingerprints or other evidence, and maybe even worse, there was this unusual message on the answering machine, and a friend deleted it, just hoping to clear the line for incoming calls. What was on that message? We'll literally never know. So, with a compromised crime scene and no bodies ever being found, the case pretty much moved into the realm of theory and pure speculation. For decades, investigators have chased down leads and explored all these possibilities, but nothing has ever led to a real answer. Over the years, two main theories have really dominated the investigation. The first one, which is supported by that lack of forced entry, is that the abductor was someone they knew, someone they trusted. The second theory points to a random predator, and this idea has been fueled by all sorts of unverified jailhouse tips over the years. But neither theory has ever led to a breakthrough. And this is the really hard truth of the case. I mean, despite thousands of tips, endless hours of police work, and even prisoners pointing to places where the bodies might be buried, no one has ever been officially named or charged. The case remains stubbornly, frustratingly open. So why, after all this time, do we still talk about the Springfield Three? It's because this case taps into something so much deeper than just your average true crime story. It has a legacy that really goes far beyond Springfield, Missouri. The sheer scale of this investigation is just staggering. Over the decades, thousands and thousands of tips have poured in, and yet the results are always the same: 0 official suspects and 0 victims found. It's just a stark, heartbreaking picture of a search that's yielded nothing. And I think this is the real heart of it. The reason this case endures, the reason it gets under our skin, is because it speaks to a fear we all have. This terrifying idea that someone can just be there 1 minute, in the safety of their own home, and then just gone the next, with no reason, no explanation. Ultimately, the story of the Springfield Three is just this chilling reminder that our sense of safety can be so fragile, even in the places we know best. It's a case that makes you confront a really uncomfortable truth. And so, we're left with this question. With witnesses getting older and memories fading, the chances of solving this thing get slimmer with every passing year. But for the families and the community, there's still hope. The hope that one day, some piece of evidence or maybe a final confession will bring these three women home and finally give them the answers they so desperately deserve.